my Make More Time Masterclass. This is my 4-part framework to help people recognize that they can move past burnout with all of the possibilities of technology and tools to freedom. I was coming off of a season where I had to re-renovate my house because we got affected by a hurricane. We had a few inches of water in our basement, which is where my office was. My wife and I and my family, we had to change. So I did the work. We got through that hard time, and I was coming out of that season and stepping into helping people use technology for their business because I believe there is a solution to every problem. And as I was coming in, I got really excited. I was working with business owners in the area. Well, working with, I was trying to work with them. I had 1 week, I had 3 meetings where I got to listen and talk to possible clients. And I was really excited. And then it was really hard. I spent, for those proposals, I spent 10 plus hours trying to figure out, listen, and piece together all of what they needed and put together a few offers that they could choose from. And I mean, I believed that these would help them move from where they were to where they wanted to be. And they did too, but they didn't have any money. They weren't ready to purchase. And that was really hard. Like, I remember feeling this, I needed money to provide for my family. I was using my skills to help others move forward. And yet this trade of trading time for money and thinking of like an hourly rate and all of this, it was rather difficult. I felt stuck. It was kind of like struggling in quicksand and trying to get out of something, but I couldn't. I had no idea that even this work that I was doing was making me sink deeper and like almost become it was a race to the bottom in many ways because anything that I was creating, other people either had or could create too, and that was really hard. I actually felt like a failure at times because nobody was saying yes, or I wasn't contacting enough people, or technology was changing so fast with all the tools that I was using. I was constantly trying to stay up to date on the tech. I enjoy that, don't get me wrong, but it changes so quickly. I always felt behind. And in feeling behind, I felt stuck. And that was something that I hadn't really experienced in that way before. And I needed something more. And so what I had tried learning, the multiple tools, the technology, and then I was watching countless hours of YouTube trying to stay up to date. And that just wasn't working. And that was really draining. And then when I did learn something and I got excited about it, maybe I got a couple of certifications for different platforms, and I'd go to talk to these people, these business owners, and hear their problems and then offer these solutions. They didn't want new technology. They didn't even know the right questions to ask, or the questions that they were asking were actually, oh, well, you might not be at the same level, or I realize there's a different level of desire for technology and desire for change. And so it just wasn't working. And so that was rather difficult. So around that time, we were about to have a baby number 4. And so I'm in this season of, okay, I'm trying to build this business, yet no money's coming in. Oh wait, I'm having a baby and I can't keep going because I'm having a baby. And I had to stop again. I had to stop previously, stop again, and I just kept hitting all these roadblocks. And so coming out of my paternity leave, I found and attended a challenge. It's called the Make More Offers Challenge by Myron Golden. And my mind was changed. My mindset was radically changed. because I had been thinking about, how do I custom build? How do I serve people at with these really cool things that they need and that they say that they want, but I can't serve a lot of people. I have to serve one at a time and all these proposals. And he helped me see that, what if I could serve multiple people at one time and maybe not have to charge so much? Maybe charge a lot too, either way. Like, it's more of this concept of, like, rather than trading all my time for a little bit of money, what if I could trade a little bit of time for a lot of bit of money and leverage and multiply my time? And that was something that I'd never really considered, because I believed I had to custom build everything, that everything was unique, and whatever tools and tech other people were using, I had to like work with, which has a place. But then it just kept feeling like I was being pushed down and held back from what I could do with my time, especially wanting to be around for my family and be present and make money. And so my beliefs that I had to do everything one on one and I had to do everything custom was holding me back, because that's all that I'd ever known. All the tools that I work with are very much like, what's your hourly rate, and da 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 da. And I was kind of stuck in that. And so if I couldn't figure this out fast enough, I'd have to go back to my 9 to 5 job. I stepped away from a job previously, and if I couldn't figure out how to help people and create value for people and be paid for it, then I have to go back to that. I also had to, like, staying one on one, I'd have to compete with a lot of other people who were further along, or at least I felt like they were further along than I was in whatever journey and technology tool that they were on. And that's really hard, to always be feeling like I have to keep up with other people, um, and spend time with my family and do the work that I'm saying I'll do with my clients and customers. And so, doing the Make More Offers challenge, I really enjoyed these aha moments that, like, Myron helped me see that, what if you could do one thing for 10 people, for 20 people? It's like, oh, that sounds really cool. What if I could? But I was also stuck. Like, I didn't believe that I could create these solutions. And so I'm like, huh. And I was reminded of something that I'd heard years before with a task manager tool that I use called Asana. I still use it, and it's by Paul Miners, he's the owner of Miner Co, and he's awesome. He said this. He said he has a lot of clients come to him expecting that this tool, Asana, would solve all their problems. And he said, how they go about doing their work might be more of the problem than the tool itself. I connected those two things. Like, what if I could help a lot of people, and what if it's not about the individual tool? And I had this epiphany, this aha moment, where I was like, oh, I could help. I know the principles and the purpose of what tools are supposed to be doing. I can teach that. I love talking about technology and teaching, like, why technology. And so I knew that I needed to make a way to think beyond just a software tool or technology, so that I personally could not always feel behind. Like, okay, this is here, and what is it supposed to do? Oh, okay, that's supposed to do this. Cool, I already have that over here. And I realized for myself that to move beyond a particular piece of technology, like, it's about, what does the technology do? What is the purpose it serves? And I knew that I could create that because I love technology. I know how things work. And so I started asking those questions. Like, what is the purpose of this piece of technology? What is the purpose of this? And I realized that I didn't need everything I was paying for. I didn't need all of these special tools and technology and software. So I actually went ahead, and as I learned this, I found the core principles of like what I needed to grow my business and do the work that's right in front of me right now. So I was able to get rid of 3 or 4 paid tools that I was using because I had another tool that was already doing what I needed. And so that kind of mentality has really freed me up to see that, wow, it's not about the tech. It's about what the tech does and how do I do what needs to be done. And if technology is helpful, then it's helpful. And so I get to, like, the strategy for this masterclass is more about how to train people to use people, tools, and technology so that they can create freedom rather than burnout. And what that basically means is rather than being overwhelmed by all of the possibilities and how quickly things change, recognizing what do I need, how do I get it, and how do I keep getting that same result? Because that's when time begins to multiply. And within the Make More Time Masterclass, there's a few frameworks that I use. There's the time quadrants, talking about how we kind of cross the energy and return. If I'm always draining my energy but not getting any return, is this really worth my time? That's a really good question to ask. And then we also have the date with freedom. And so that's a fun one. And then the replicate what works, or the replicate ladder. And this is that kind of the core concept of all of this. It's like when I know I can take what's in my head out of my head and put it in the hands of someone else the right way, so that whether I'm hiring an employee or paying a freelancer or automating with a cool tool, I know what I'm doing because I've already processed, and it gives you the framework for how to process like what you really need out of the technology. And so after I decided to cancel those 4 pieces of technology, like, this is great. And then I was able to bring it back down to the core of what I need to be doing. Without all this extra stuff, all these other possibilities, I'm able to focus and follow one course until successful and be in the right space for the right purpose. And I was actually thinking of this idea of like the purpose of technology. I worked with one of the companies that I worked with. They very effective team, yet I was able to work with them and help them see how not using and overusing technology actually created more work for them, work about work, and that if they could fix a few things, kind of the principles of what technology is supposed to do, that they could get back a lot of their time. I found around 25 hours of wasted time just because I recognize that the purpose of what things are supposed to be doing, and they were just caught up in going through all the same things that they've always been doing. And so now I'm no longer feeling behind. I'm no longer feeling stuck because I recognize that, yes, technology is going to keep moving forward, and I'll keep doing enough of what I need to do to kind of stay up to date because I enjoy that, but I don't have to. It's going to keep moving forward, and whenever I need to, I can get caught up. And I get to focus on making freedom with what I know and with the purpose of what needs to happen. And that's the point of the Make More Time Masterclass, is finding the core purpose of what needs to be done, and then kind of working together with talent, tools, and technology to make freedom. Rather than build a business or do work that causes more burnout, because it's not just about producing more, it's about making freedom for myself, for others. And so as you get into this class, there's 4 sessions, and they each have the PDFs and resource guides to go with them. And one of them actually shows you how to put it into ChatGPT, so you don't have to keep thinking about it. And I'll explain that in the course. So I'm excited that you're here. I'm hopeful that you can see that when you learn how to create, how to see the purpose of technology and talent and the different tools that are out there, see the purpose that you can create freedom rather than just get stuck in the burnout. So I'm excited that you're here. Go below and go ahead, purchase the course. And like, I'm confident that this will help you see that you don't have to feel like a victim to burnout anymore. And if there's any issue that you have, like 100% money back guarantee, because I'm confident that this is going to be a blessing and a help to you so that you can move forward rather than stay stuck. So glad you're here. Go ahead and get the course down below, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side.